In a quiet neighborhood of Westbourne Road, Chester, the walls of Lucy Letby's semi-detached home bore witness to a chilling secret. It wasn't hidden in plain sight, but the crammed post-it notes filled with her minuscule, frantic scrawls. These scribblings have become crucial pieces of evidence, offering a stark window into Letby's deeply troubled psyche. As we all look at this case now and go, why did she do these things? And the notes, I don't know that they provide a whole lot more context other than she certainly was wrestling with these things in her mind at home, but they're almost, they're the rantings of a mad person who seemed to go from mad to being able to function clearly in most areas of life until it came to getting close to a baby and then seemingly having this urge to kill.
I think we had talked about this very early on when the case went to, before it went to the jury. I'm wondering if there's a multiple personality issue going on here. And I don't recall ever hearing that they tested her for that. Mm-hmm. But to me, it seems like there's a couple of different people present here in this one body.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases where that tries to get brought up and argued, and most of them, it's like, no, they're kind of evil. This one almost feels like that there's a switch and it's a different human being. And there's an element to me that I wonder, although she is cognizant of these notes, she argued about these notes in court. So when you have the other Lucy, she is cognizant of what she was writing. Her excuses were stupid I was just trying to work through it. But I don't know. It's just, this one just baffles the mind. Detectives have poised that these notes were a cryptic way for Letby to end her sinister spree. A deeper analysis reveals more. These post-its are not a confession, nor are they simple scribbles. They provide a raw, unfiltered look into the recesses of a very disturbed mind. As a forensic psychologist delving into the minds of individuals who have committed grievous crimes is not new to many, including one forensic psychologist who looked into this. Insecure prisons, tightly locked hospital wards, and courtrooms. This psychiatrist claims that they've encountered many who tread the dark path, but Lucy is more distinct. The notes are filled with expressions that exemplify negative cognitions, says this psychiatrist. Phrases such as, I don't deserve mom and dad, hate myself, and the world is better off without me resonate with overwhelming guilt, shame, and self-hatred. The inherent contradictions in her notes with statements like, I haven't done anything wrong, juxtaposed against confessions of her evil nature, signified a tormented soul battling her own conscience. And although these notes give us a glimpse into this internal strife for guilt, shame, and self-awareness, were evidently not potent enough to halt her murderous actions or elicit a confession, even during the trial. Interested in these scribbles, Letby frequently mentioned her cats, Tigger and Smudge. This is a cat person. Perhaps they were of solace, bringing beings she could control and exhibit genuine affection towards, in stark contrast to the heinous crimes that she committed. Despite these profound revelations, classifying Letby under standard psychiatric condition remains challenging. There's little evidence in these notes that hint towards her suffering from a severe mental illness. However, signs of anxiety and depression permeate the writings. She scribbled help and hate, coupled with the overwhelming intensity of her notes, all point towards a deeply troubled mind. Yet these symptoms did not impair her daily functions. Colleagues never reported any peculiar stress or abnormal behavior in her role at the hospital. She was very much calm in nature, committing unimaginable crimes and outwardly somehow maintaining that composed facade, making this all extremely creepy. Motivations behind Lucy Letby's actions are intricate. While one might be tempted to accept her statement, I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough to care for them, as a genuine reflection of her motives, it might be an expression of self-pity, claims this psychologist. The actual driving forces, it appears, were the desire for control, power, and a pervasive thrill in being around the grieving process. Letby's morbid need to be present during moments of overwhelming parental grief, even when the babies were not her parents, underscores a deeper, more sinister craving, according to what the psychologist told the Daily Mail. Moreover, despite her crimes, Letby doesn't align neatly with the classical traits of psychopathy. She might have lied to shield her deeds, but she didn't fabricate an alternate reality. The key differentiator here is her emotional perception. She might cognitively understand the repercussions of her actions. Emotionally, she seems to remain detached. The suffering of others doesn't cause her pain. Instead, she draws a pervasive pleasure from it. In the end, Lucy Letby is an enigma. Her behavior before her heinous acts did not raise alarms. She was perceived as amicable, diligent, and competent. Trying to reconcile this image with the one painted by her Post-it notes is extremely unsettling, with Letby unlikely to ever leave prison for the rest of her life. The chances of her receiving intensive psychiatric support leading to a potential remorse or empathy are also extremely slim. I'd be curious to know what sort of psychiatric help they offer inmates in the UK. I don't know that. I mean, I know there's some semblance of it here, but, not exactly the greatest.
No. And one of the weird things, and obviously I'm going to bring up the cats, but to have, of course I am, but to have this love for her cats and affection and concern for her cats, and yet go to work and I guess fake concern for these babies. It's such a weird conundrum because I'm not a fan of children. I don't have kids, but I have cats. But I would never harm a child. I just don't expose myself to kids.
Sure.
That's my way of, avoiding the screaming petri dishes. But I can't imagine having love and compassion for one creature and then not another. It seems like such a juxtaposition that doesn't make any sense.
I get what they're saying about the control, where she really wanted that control. And I don't know what else was going on in her life that she felt that she did not have control. One would think that just being in her position, there would be a lot of control there. You're helping people, supposedly, with their health. You're trying to help people get by, get out of that hospital. But maybe she didn't feel that. And she found some sort of extreme amount of joy in having that control. But the only way that she could get it was by causing a problem first. And then she becomes the hero to the problem that she caused. And if sometimes the hero role turns out, oh, you revived this child, they're back, they're good job. And then there's plenty of times where it did not work out that way and the children died. I think it lies somewhere in that area. I think there's some sort of real grotesque extreme joy that she could not turn down, that she almost became addicted to by doing this cycle or this process that totally took her over. Other than that, or she's possessed by the devil. I don't know what else to say about Lucy Letby, because it's a very broken mind. Will we ever understand this one? I don't think we will.
I don't think so either. And I would love to have a psychological study done on her. Early on in the case, I said, well, what if she's just a really unlucky nurse and she's in the wrong place at the right time? But I think they've got enough proof that she did this, especially with these notes at home. Why was she writing these notes if she hadn't been in somewhat fashion, around these babies that were dying?
I think there needs to be better audits of healthcare facilities from outside of the healthcare facilities that take a look at their stats in terms of, well, how many are dying here of this? And if there's a big spike, it's looked into from a third party, because in a case like this, it was looked into by their own group, and it was essentially somewhat tried to have it be covered up. I just did a story with Carol earlier today about a doctor or a nurse practitioner, I believe, in Missouri, who it was 9 cardiac incidents, a total of, I think, 18 that spiked it. in a hospital in Missouri that a small town as well. They normally only had one a year. They suddenly had 18 in the course of like 4 months.
Okay, that's a problem.
9 died, 9 survived. The individual's been charged with 2 of the deaths now, but very likely, you look at it, they're probably responsible for far more than that and far more very close calls. That hospital, too, alleged to have covered it up, not wanting the bad publicity, as any hospital would not want the bad publicity. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of this where it's taken a lot of digging into to get some of these institutions to open up and go, look, we got some bad blood in here. Because I think there's more of these people out there than we think. And I'm not afraid to go to the hospital or the doctor or anything like that. There's plenty of very good people out there. And when you need to go, you need to go. But this exists, and it needs a little more oversight to prevent these people from being able to thrive and do what they do for as long as they do. Because it's not just, oh, this one seems bad, like what happened here, we're going to pull you. It's like, oh, 18 down? Maybe we should do something about this one.
Even in the veterinary world, if we lost multiple patients, we would do an audit. We would talk about what went wrong. How do you get 18 people dead without them doing an audit?
You need to. Otherwise, there's just going to be more dead people.
You're locked into the Hidden Killers podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.